A very good afternoon to all you Ugandans who are catching us from wherever you're catching us from. Thank you so much for making it a date to be part of Uganda's biggest political show, and that is none other than UG Pulse. My name is Isaac Olupot Kwenye, and I would like to say that to all of you, it's really a great pleasure to begin a week with you. That's for Monday, and of course to crown it on Saturday, knowing that someone out there watches whatever transpires, of course, in his own country and tries to keep himself more updated about what exactly is trending. I'd like to say that to all of you out there, you should be reminded that when you dodge to be part of the political system of your country, then you are only dodging to be realistic to how you're governed. Politics is part of everyone's life, and everyone is naturally a political animal. I believe you know much of the stories. Now, getting back to the basic today, I know there are very many stories that are trending, of course, across different walks of life. With Robert Chagulanyi yesterday, of course, getting into parliament and addressing the country in relationship to what he calls continuous matters. That we'll be getting into it, and of course, we shall be having a video from Control Room about Chagulanyi yesterday in parliament. But of course, before that, some story that actually just coming right now is a sad one from South Africa. That's within Africa, about the death of the Zulu king. The Zulu king, known as Zwelithini, dies at the age of 72. There had been rumors about the Zulu leader's death since his hospital admission for diabetes treatment last month. He was the longest serving Zulu monarch in the history of the Zulu people. That is just something basic about it. The king, yes, was in KwaZulu-Natal Hospital for diabetes treatment, which I believe most of you could have followed. It's one of the most famous hospitals in South Africa. And of course, Godwill himself has died at that particular age, 72. That's now what we call borrowed years. That is according to his cousin, who happens to be called Buthelezi, a powerful veteran politician who is also a Zulu prince, according to what he said today in the course of the day. Tragically, while in hospital, His Majesty's health took a turn for the worse, and he subsequently passed away in the early hours of this morning. The king was admitted on intensive care unit for diabetes treatment, something that they saw was not actually getting into an improvement as they had actually expected. There had been rumors about his death since the hospital admission, which his aides had reportedly denied for quite some time. But now, for very many of you, you could be there, knowing about different kingdoms, knowing about different individuals, knowing about different chiefs. But who was the king of who was actually the king of the Zulu, known as the Zwelithini? King Zwelithini was the longest serving king of that particular monarch in history, reigning for more than 5 decades. Do you know what 5 decades are? Do you know what it means? And of course, while a traditional leader, his major role was spiritual and ceremonial. And of course, he was a man, being a king. In Africa, kings are always known for having very many women. He had, I think, 6 to 8 wives. I think I'll confirm the figure. Yes, but of course, he was occasionally involved in a particular bit of South Africa's politics. You could be wondering why we are actually taking a hint on this particular side, because there's a political angle in it, just like in Uganda. Kings are supposed to be purely cultural, but there's no way they can be purely cultural minus that other part whereby he has to be involved in this. So while being a traditional leader, of course, his role was largely spiritual and ceremonial. He was occasionally involved in politics. And of course, you should not forget that the king of the Zulu was the sole trustee of the Ingonyama, yes, trust. For most of you have followed the South African history, which manages, of course, nearly 3 million acres of communally owned land. You see Kabaka talk about land here, and you know what it means. In 2019, he vowed to protect his land when South Africa, of course, as an authority, proposed scrapping the Ingonyama Trust. King Zwelithini reigned over nearly 11 million Zulu people living in the eastern province of KwaZulu-Natal. And also, he was actually one of the best recognized monarchs across Africa. He had 6 wives, just to confirm to you. He had 6 wives, and he had 28 children. 6 wives and 28 children. How many children does your king have, or chief? How many children does your clan leader have? How many children do you have? And what is your dream in relationship to the number of children? In Africa, the culture on children has never merely been affected by any politics. It's a matter of you waking up and, of course, naming the number of children that you wish to have, and you work towards it. So basically, that is the life of a great man. So the Zulu Empire is actually found in the southern part of Africa, and it happens to cover most of the South African countries. It's not basically a tribe that stays only in the South Africa that we call South Africa today as a country, but it also moves to Botswana and those other related countries. That is about the Zulu people. The dress code has been synonymously known as leopard's skin. For most of you have been actually seeing it across different parts of our media, and at the same time, you should also not forget that when we talk about the Zulu people, you should not rule out the Zulu warriors. History has them ever since time before even actual South Africa got independence. They've been the furious warriors of Africa, and they've been organized in a much better way. They had one of the best armies in relationship to, if you weigh them across different kingdoms in South Africa, they had one of the strongest armies. They had their cultures that they actually glued themselves into. Remember when President Zuma was actually into power, you should not forget the fact that he still had himself submerged in the Zulu culture. Those are the Zulu people in South Africa. The challenge is I don't know how to pronounce the common words, but if I had a Zulu within today, I would actually give you to have a tip onto how they speak. I would like to say to all of you who are connecting with us, or wherever you're connecting with us, thank you so much for joining us in today's edition of UG Polls. And of course, for those who have just gotten online, or those who have just gotten into the comfort of the screens of the television, feel free to connect with us on our social media platforms too. That's Record TV Uganda on Facebook, Record TV Uganda on Twitter, and Record TV Uganda on YouTube. You can also move a mile and make sure that you be part of our, I would say, physical, of course, look. That is through different decoders. That is on Star Times, channel 221, Go TV, channel 819, and of course, free to air, channel 04. Every day, Monday to Friday, we get on air to discuss with you the Uganda's politics, the politics of Africa, the challenges we face each and every day, the credits that different institutions deserve to take, and not forgetting, celebrating how we have tried to move forward with our democracy. And of course, the big question is, are we more democratic? That's one question that has always divided people, just like the way question on religion has always divided the world. Because there's a section that will say, when we look back to where we came from, we believe we are far much more democratic than anyone can actually say. Then there's a section that will say, you've turned democracy into hypocrisy. But still, away from that, trending stories across. We have a range of things happening. We have Okoth Ochola Martin today in what we call the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda being vetted to have another term as IGP, man in charge of the Uganda Police Force. And we have at the same time his counterpart, that is Mutebile, who happens to be a governor of the Bank of Uganda, also being vetted, and Parliament coming out to approve him for another term of office as the Bank of Uganda governor. Do you think they deserve another term based on your own analysis? Take a seat, and of course, let's keep the conversation rolling. Today in the studios, we'll be discussing different topics, of course, that have been actually part of this whole week. But I would like to say we shall begin with talking about the youth outside politics. And in the studios, I'm so much delighted to have a young, vibrant gentleman who one time actually aspired, or who got an inspiration to run for presidency of the Republic of Uganda. I would say he went to the Electoral Commission, picked nomination forms, and got set to stand for presidency. But in the course of the journey, we don't know what happened. He never appeared in the ballots. But today, We will be so delighted to hear from him his experience outside politics, and that's none other than Mr. Hallelujah Simon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Am I right to call you Mr.?
Yeah, you can call me Simon.
I thought you're married already.
No, I'm not married.
You're not married.
Yeah.
Feel free to greet the viewers.
Yeah, hey viewers, I greet you and I welcome you to our today's show. Yeah, take your seats. We shall take you through this perfectly.
Thank you. I'd like to say still to reaccount to you that you can follow us on our social media platforms, Record TV Uganda on Facebook, Record TV Uganda on Twitter, and Record TV Uganda on YouTube. We shall be discussing about youths outside politics and youths who watch politics from the outside. I think the related statements, and of course that will form our discussion today before we get into Parliament and the voting process. You picked interest. I remember I hosted you on the same show to talk about your move. That was a very day I think you picked the nomination forms.
Yeah, it was a very day I picked my nomination forms from the EC. So after picking my nomination forms, I went home. But bad enough, my dad was not aware that I was picking the nomination forms. So he saw somewhere on YouTube, he saw Simon on TV. So he had to call me one-on-one. What's going on? What's happening? Why didn't you tell me that you are joining this? Do you know that it's dangerous? Like our parents, who are more, they are scared of the situation in the country currently. When they hear that their son or their daughter is joining politics, the first question is, are we safe? Leaving alone the question that you are safe, you are safe. Is the whole family safe? Because they could be taking one-on-one, which means there was some insecurities that couldn't allow me to move on to join the race.
I would like to inquire from you, what inspired you to think about politics? But for starters, how old are you?
I'm 24. I made 24 last month.
You made 24 last month?
Yeah.
Meaning you are supposed to be the youngest in the race against Katumba?
Yeah.
You're going to be the youngest in the whole country?
Yeah, I would be the youngest.
What drove you? We want to share your inspiration because we believe some young people out there are like you and they wish to join politics.
Yeah. Looking at our politics today, especially now the presidential race and what, if we can say like the NLM, which is currently in the government, if it has the long time, I think it is having less than 10 years. And now everyone in the government, they are looking up that seat. Everyone is looking, what can I do? Who is the next president? That's the question for everyone. So everyone is imagining, everyone is coming from all sides of the country. They say, I can be the president, I can be the president. That's why I saw so many people coming out to contest. Even me, myself, I came out, I picked the nomination forms, but then later there in the middle, I decided to just drop out. What inspired me most is because the country is going away from what it came on the issues that brought them, the reasons why they went to the bush, they're happening now, reasons why they came to take up the country from the previous regimes, the reasons why they were complaining of the Idi Amin, the reasons why they were complaining of bad leadership, all that were happening before. So if you see the country going in that way, it's going astray, just come up and say, what can I do as a citizen? What can I do? So that's why I came up with an idea. I think I can be the president. Why not?
When you got the idea of thinking about contesting for presidency for the Republic of Uganda, didn't you laugh at yourself at a certain point?
Actually, I got the idea before even the elections. I think it was in 2013, while I was in senior 3.
And how old were you by then?
Senior 3, I think I was around 16. I was around 16. Actually, that's when even I wrote my first book. That's when I wrote high school. Yeah, I wrote my first book. That's when I picked up the idea. Then later in 2015, I joined the seminary. That's why I got the idea, like in the seminary, we are taught to be gentlemen. If you can't be a priest, at least be a gentleman, be a good citizen. So that's why I came up with the idea. So as the elections were coming near, I said, why not? Why can't I join here? Why can't I come in? I woke up one morning, I dressed up, I went to the AC on foot. So actually, even when I reached the AC, the lady told me, why are you here? I say, I'm here, I want to pick the nomination form. So I was like, no, just sit. Actually, the gentleman told me, just sit because we are not exceeding here. I said, I'm going. So after they allowed me to go inside and they told me the procedure, they asked me, what's your role? Because by then I was a pilot student. I'm a pilot student now. Very soon I'll be completing, I'll be a pilot. At the same time I completed, actually I have around 12 certificates. After my senior 6, I didn't join a university, I joined academies, aviation academy. So that even IT academy, so that I could join. I did short courses, I want to tackle all fields. That's why I couldn't waste like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years going to the university. So that's why, so after that I say, why can't I be the president? I went to the AC, they gave me the forms, I went home. So what next? Actually, I passed here before even reaching home. I was passing, I said, let me call at Record TV. Can they host me? I was kind of here.
So you're lucky to have your first TV show?
Yeah, when I called on Record TV, it was, I think, 5 minutes to the show. So they said, you can come in. And it was you. Actually, I'm so grateful that you allowed me in. When I came in, from there and then, things were moving on. Yeah, things changed.
That is so much beautiful. I'd like to say that to all of you catching is, it's such a great honor to have an interaction with a young man. Truth to be told, for most of you have been following UG polls right from the start. This young man walked to the studios with his forms, his, I would call them nomination forms, but when you're not yet newly nominated. And he said he wants to run for presidency. I was so much excited, and I said, wow, what a courage. At 23, I said, no, let's go on air. I wanted him to speak to Ugandans, and indeed, he spoke to Ugandans. So they were brought him back here to discuss with us what went wrong along the journey. And of course, that brings us to one of our next questions. I would like to ask you, away from the normal scenarios that actually transpired, what are some of the things that you think, apart from just what happened to you, what are some of the things that you think young people have faced that have made them sit home with their dreams? Remember, very many young people wish actually to do a lot of things.
Yeah, first of all, I'll put all the blames to the government. Even the young people who come out with the ideas, they are not supported. I'll give you, for instance, myself. I tried to do the project which was called the Sky Simon project, and it was based on increasing safety on airplanes, passenger aeroplanes. So I launched the process, but I launched the project. I shared it to different people. Even I went to URSB. I showed them my project. They told me, go and come back tomorrow. So nobody was supporting. What I did, because I had the chance, I had to fly to Comoros, country in the Indian Ocean. So when I went to Comoros, I was doing my research there, but unfortunately, I didn't get the necessary funds to continue with my project. So now I blame, my parents did their part. They paid my tickets, they paid my accommodation, they paid everything that was needed, but then I didn't get like external help, and I blame that to the government, because in the government there should be a sector, and I think it's there, but it's not doing the job. I blame the government. Then apart from the government, even we ourselves, we the young, the youth.
Before you go, I know you'll give us more points, because I know it's such a wide area of discussion. You blame the government.
Yeah.
But do you blame the government by sitting? Did you take any steps? Or you among those youth who just keep saying, this government, anything, even if he fights with this girlfriend, he says, this government has spoiled these ladies of ours, our mothers were better than this. Did you actually take any steps?
Yeah, I made steps. I went to URSB. If you ask those people who have heard of the name Hallelujah Simon, they say, hey, I know that boy, he came here. I know that boy, he came here. I went to the Daily Monitor. If they can talk of Hallelujah Simon, I think they remember Hallelujah Simon somewhere. I went to Serena, the TV station based in Serena. If you ask, if you ask, do you know Hallelujah Simon? Yes, they say, I know Hallelujah Simon. Why he was here? He was here. He had some issues that he had a project concerning airplanes. And actually, at one time, I was trying to seek advice on how I can improve safety on airplanes. I was doing my research, personal research. Then I was talking to one of my uncles, and he called me. When I told him that I'm doing this research and I need some assistance, he said, how many planes do we have at home? I said, we have none. Are we really on the right journey? Are we safe? I said, no. So, all people, I tried my level best, but then they didn't come out positively. Yes.
Still a related note. Do you think you went to the right offices? Because you're talking about, you went to certain TV in Serena, you went to Daily Monitor, you went to URSB. Do you think you went to the right channels?
That was for publicity. URSB is the right place for this, for innovations. If you have innovations, you have to go to URSB, you introduce them, they tell you what to do, you take it back, they tell you come tomorrow, you go back, they keep on changing. You wait, you come back next month, like that. I went to the URSB. If you check in the office, say, do you know, have you heard of Hallelujah Simon here? There is a section, I don't know how they call it, but it is on URSB, on that Uganda Road office. When you go there, they will tell you, do this. If you, what is your idea? I want to make a parachute. What do you have? I have this and this thing. Go and do this. You come back tomorrow. You come with what they told you to come with. When you reach there, you say, oh, something is missing. Maybe you come back. Manager is not around. I did. I went there. But
so did you go to URSB to register your project?
Yes, I went there.
Oh, to register your project to a company, because I know it's known for actually registering.
But then it is doing more than that. like concerning, I don't know the real how I can describe it, but they have a sector that is supposed to support research. Yeah, they're supposed to support research financially and in all other ways. And I went to the right office. But then to reach on the point, I didn't know anyone there. I didn't know. They will look at someone coming in. He came on foot. And they are looking at you like, why are you here? I say, I have this. Maybe he's lost.
Okay.
So they will see the way to treat you and make sure that you are out of the office.
Okay. That is so much amazing. And of course, I would like to say that to all of you catching us, this is a sneak peek unto the gentleman we're having in the studio today. And of course, he is talking unto us what he witnessed in his journey. And we are still discussing why young people are actually getting home and they opt to sit home with their dreams. One of the things that actually we have known is the fact that he says government is not supportive, and very many dreams have died. The other thing he's talking about is parents demoralize their children, and of course he picks that from his personal story. He says after he picked from some electoral commission wanting to stand for Uganda's presidency, along the way when he reached home, his dad already watched him on TV. His dad asked him a question: "You man, do you know what you're going into? Why do you want to cause us problems? Are you serious? Do you understand exactly the trouble you want to cause?" And I believe this has happened many times. I remember at a certain point I wanted to join politics, and when I was starting my journey, someone actually told me, it was even a crisis actually. I went to the village and I was just arrested by the family. Is what we're hearing true? That was a big question. Is what we're hearing true? Do you know what you want to cause us? It's a common discussion in families of the African context. But also you should not forget the fact that white people encourage their children to go for what they dream for. African families discourage children. I think it's why, for some reason, African families raise children, but when it comes to the issue like joining the army, children just disappear. They lie and say, "I'm going to Kampala to look for a job." Then they come out after 9 months, and someone appears home on uniform. So all that we shall be actually discussing in the course of the show, and he's still giving us other reasons why he thinks most of the youth are actually out there. Before we get deep into that, I would like to ask you something. Had you gone for this race?
For which race?
For the presidency. Which position would you rate yourself? I'm sure you watched how these guys competed.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have won that seat this time? Or out of the 12 with you, you would actually place yourself as number 12? We will be getting into a short commercial break. When we get back, we will be moving deep to hear from him where he rates himself, whether he would have been number 1 or actually he would have been number 12. Let's go for the break.
omuntu n'omu akulemesa kumalawo kikyo y'ensonga lwaki MTN ekuwa data banda ataggwako. Teekako data wa MTN Freedom Bundle ng'okozesa My MTN app olw'onyumirwa eddembe okozesa data wo mu bujjuvu. MTN.
champion section, and anything less than that get a hasty rejection. I point you in the direction, I put you between to the next one. So anything.
The official sponsor of the UEFA Champions League, Pepsi, for the love of it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and no, 97.7 Record FM to Sabla Hits all day. Wakati mutima gwa Kampala with the best shows nga tutandikane UG breakfast show akawuwo okuva ku 12 mpaka sawa nyezo okumakya the Hit Club omubenzi sawa nya mpaka mwendezi obutundu the big evening ababa sawa mwenda mpaka imwe yakawungeze the hot 7 at 7 countdown mwetubuliri nyimba esinga okuja the hottest and the biggest songs wena ku 97.7 at the love at heart omukwano mumbeho etandika sawa 2 mpaka 7 ogwekiro late night kusobola obuwomi wa radio esengekeddwa 97.7 Record FM to Sabla Hits all day.
Welcome back from the break, and we're glad you're still watching UG Pulse. My name is Isaac Olupot Akonya, and of course, as we began our show, I talked about the sudden news coming all the way from South Africa that the king of the Zulu actually passed on today in the early hours of the morning. And of course, as Record TV and the UG Pulse family, we condole with the family, and of course, with all the entire Zulu tribe, and not forgetting with all the South Africans in Uganda and world over. It's such a pain to lose such a great person, and of course we pray that may soul rest in eternal peace. And also we also say that may God's healing hand comfort the family as they prepare to choose the next person who will actually take the stewardship of the kingdom to another level, because Africa, our greatest politics is in kingdoms. The new democracy we talk about have just come in. So we like to say to South Africans, those within the South African Embassy Uganda, the South Africans doing business in Uganda, the South African companies in Uganda, we as the UG Pulse family and the Record TV family do stand with you in this challenging moment. Today in the studios, I'm so much delighted to have a gentleman by the names of Hallelujah Simon, who happened to stand for the post of presidency. He went and picked forms. So when you had the 82 people were calculated who had already picked the nomination forms, he was among them. And he was among the remaining number that never appeared among the 11 on the final nomination day, when the country was almost upside down, as you watched from different angles. Those who watched on YouTube, Facebook during the nomination, there were different dramas. Others actually heading to the nomination ground without shoes. Others heading the nomination ground and immediately being helped to be driven back to their homes as a preventive arrests. Others actually being nominated and moving on the road and stopping by the roadside to wave. Others just shocking us that they've appeared there. We don't know where they passed. They just appeared there and they're already actually on the nomination ground. Others appearing when they're walking on foot with an assumption that the car tire burst on the way, and they actually opted to run on foot. Others going with missing documents. A lot. Comrade, apart from just the issue of Dad speaking out, were you prepared to donate to the Electoral Commission the 20 million shillings?
Yeah, I was prepared. I had the money.
Did you rob somewhere as a young man? Because no, I mean, you actually cry. Did you rob somewhere?
No, I'm working. I was working. I'm a travel agent. I'm a tour agent. Yeah, and I I am a supplier of soft drinks. So I had money. I had the 20 million.
You had the 20 million?
Yeah, I had the 20 million.
Wow, that's so much beautiful. Still on a related note, whom did you opt to support now that you sat back home? I'm sure, like any other person, I will tell you openly that I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you're an Arsenal fan? Good.
Yeah.
Every time Arsenal is eliminated, okay, on a sad note, we don't sit back. There's that one team you say, okay, now let me opt to support maybe Barcelona this time, or let me support Real Madrid or Juventus. Of course, not Man U. I know you know Arsenal and Man U. The rivalry is really so high. You're not going to support Liverpool and actually see Man U eliminated. Whom did you opt to? Okay, whose ideas did you love? Not just that you followed someone. Whose ideas did you love? In this
I liked Amriyat. Power. I liked power. Because even before my role model or the person who I joined politics, the person who used to inspire me a lot was Dr. Chiza Besigye. That one I will say it even a million times. Chiza Besigye inspired me to join the politics. So he seconded the Amriyat to join as the president.
So you liked Amriyat because your inspiration, your person who motivated you to join politics, actually said yes to the man.
So if you seconded, Amriyat, you can go and contest. So why? Because I was sure, to be honest, if I had joined the race, the people who would have taken me a far distance would be President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Bobi Wine.
The only two guys who could have actually disturbed you.
My own Amriyat would struggle, then the rest of
would struggle to get you.
To Mukunda, I'm sorry.
They will not get near you.
Nah, they will not get near. How do you, in the whole count, how do you get 0 point something?
Votes.
Votes. Out of millions.
So they're really a mockery to you. Like, something's actually very exciting. Of course, in the studio we have Hallelujah Simon, and of course he's giving us an insight into his political journey. And he is saying, like to Mukunde, for him, we would have beaten him hands down. Those ones would be struggling to get him. He believes the likes of Amriyat would be struggling to get him. He says he accepts. Maybe Bob Wine and Museveni would actually try to disturb him a bit. What about Katumba, who happened to be your age mate almost?
So actually, when Katumba joined, I think he took my place, but then he didn't do it very well.
As you had expected?
Yeah, that I expected. When I saw Katumba joining, and me, I was out, then maybe Katumba he could do it. But then also he reached somewhere and then he diverted. Yeah.
I would like to ask you, does your political dream still stand? Or you've said bye-bye to presidency and whatever happens in this country, when it comes to politics, is none of your business?
I'm coming. Anytime I'm coming. Yeah, but for the safety of my family, my dad said that maybe I shouldn't come out open and say that I want to be the president.
But you've already come out to say openly.
Yeah, but my dad was like, I couldn't have said it. But since I have already
said it. What does your dad want you to do? Because politics is about coming out. Does he want you to form a rebel group over to the government?
I should wait for the real democracy. Like real democracy, where you have to stand freely, you walk free. But the moment you come out and say you want to be the president, the next day you want to move out of the house.
Is your dad afraid that you'll be abducted using a drone?
yeah, that's why. That's some of the reasons. Actually, the reason I said that when I was talking to him, I told him, but it's up to me. I have nothing to lose. It's me and my life. He said no. They don't come for you, they come for us.
Now, getting back to the basic line, most times before you become president, the things they consider. One, you are built to speak, for which I believe. Okay, leave alone the other things of the electoral commission. I'm only giving you the basic thing a local man would want to cast that vote for you. You should be a good orator. You should be someone with sound mind. You should be someone actually who shows them that you're a good prospect. You should be someone who is married in every political seat, whether you one. When are you planning to marry? Are you married?
No,
do you dream marriage?
No, I have someone I like. Yeah,
that's so sarcastic. You have someone you like, just like.
I have someone I love.
Hey, I was wondering actually. I'm sure she should be feeling disappointed hearing you say, "I have someone I like," because you can like a friend.
Yeah, no, she knows. She understands.
So when you hope to get married, before you get for this political race, or you would love actually to emulate Olara Otuno, to be without a wife, and even return back for presidency, having had all this long time preparing for it. Remember, you got your dream when you're actually in senior 3.
Yeah.
Here you are.
I'm 24, and by the time I make 30, I think I will have,
put a ring on your finger. All right, taking back to the basic line, I would like you to break down for us much of the challenges you think that are making the youth not get out of their seats to go into politics. You have given us two. What are some other challenges?
Yeah, first of all, we have the country itself. Apart from the government, we ourselves. Like, you don't have to dream big. I'll give you an example of, like, for instance, these footballers who had gone to represent our country, under 20, and then they missed out exams. Only seven students there, and I was wondering, how could the government not figure out to fix exams for these kids? They are going to represent their country. They are not going for their own issues. So you be there now, like, that thing happens, and you feel like that's a challenge. I cannot move on. I can't dream. I no longer want to present the country. I no longer want to be a matter. Why would I go? Because no one is caring. It's up to me. So they end up doing some other stuff. And another thing is in drugs. They are so cheap that everyone can manage. Yeah, especially those people living in the urban centers. For us who grew up in the villages, we are not exposed to drugs. We are not exposed to such things. In the evening, you go for football. In the morning, you are doing some other stuff. But here, all day, they have nothing to do, so they end up joining some groups because they're exposed to everything. Yeah, so others, maybe I may say they are personal issues. Some people are just weak, naturally weak. They don't want to come out, and some need guidance. Yeah, they want someone to come out and say, you can do this, come and you go. Some don't want to try. They are just relaxed. Some are waiting for the real age. They think they are still young. I'm still 20. Why would I go stroke and suffer? So there are so many reasons, depending on the situation one is in.
Now that your father advised you to get out of politics and you sat down, you heed down to his advice, are you among the Ugandans who are saying, we'd rather not have elections, let Museveni rule till he dies, then after him, we cannot join politics?
No.
Because you said, actually, I'm picking it from your statement, if I'm to paraphrase, you said, my dad told me I should wait for the time when there's clean politics.
Yeah, when the country is okay, when we are good to go, when we have some nice politics, no killing, no abductions. Yeah, but no, we should go, because the only race was for the president, but for the MPs and what, I think it was free and fair. So if you say, we wait for the government to go, when we need to go, because it will be replaced. Like, for instance, the people who are saying that maybe, like, I saw Honorable Chagran coming out to say people should come out on the streets, and people were asking, twabikuasa Chagran, katabitu So, like, you can't call people at this time to come out and struggle. For instance, there are people who work in the markets. There are women, in the morning they borrow money, they borrow food to cook, then they pay back in the evening, and you tell them to demonstrate for 2 days. Like, it doesn't work that way. The only way, which he says that it was the hard way, it was law, it was to use law. So since you have not accepted the law, so then you prepare for the coming elections.
Now, still on the same note, how are you preparing currently? Because every presidential material gets back on ground. Doesn't matter whether you take 20 years or 40 years, you must be on the move. When President Museveni lost the elections, he never sat down. He went back with his colleagues and he started preparing for how he would take over power. And indeed, they went to Kabamba, did their mess, came from there, frustrated those they frustrated, fought those they fought, make alliances with those they made alliances. At the end of the day, the man is 35 years old on the seat. Now, what are you trying to do right now? Are you doing the same way you've opted to join religious groups and you're like, let's pray for the change of government in this country?
No, like, after, like, election or something bigger that has happened, you always want to take some time. Say, what am I coming up with? So I'm still taking my time. I'm still doing my own things. So when time comes, when the right time comes, I will come out and say, I'm coming back.
Your dream is to change this country?
Yeah, my dream is to change this country. But then, if someone else can do it better, then why would I come out?
Good. I'd like to ask you, are there no other ways you can change this country minus being the president of this country?
Of course, there are so many ways. No, like, for instance, I was trying to create a passenger plane parachute. Personally, I'm not a scientist, but I sat down and drafted.
What did you do, CRA?
Yeah, I do the HLD.
HLD.
Yeah, I did the HLD, but then I did the biology exam. But I didn't do it like in A, but I did it after. I was free on that day and I did it, and the teacher marked me A level.
And you passed?
Yeah, you passed.
There's doing it and failing, you understand? There are two different things.
Yeah, I did.
Because everyone will tell you that, me, I'm an athlete, I ran, but the question is...
I did physics, I passed, then I also tried math, and I couldn't raise
when
my
you're
age.
free?
I failed to raise my age. The marks didn't match my age, like they were below.
Yeah. So what was happening was, after your examination, you still had free days?
Yeah, I still had free days.
So you went and sat for those examinations?
Yeah, I did. Like after they were doing, then they say they bring this the test they are doing, and for us who are doing art, sometimes we are free. They say try it, and I tried it. I did it, and we would find me discussing. They say this one. I actually used to go in the science class and say, what is he doing here? Like when I'm free, I would do all things. That's why I joined. So why I did so many short courses, because I wanted to get wider knowledge on everything.
So how many courses have you done so far? Don't tell me military science is one of them.
No, political science actually.
Political science.
Yeah.
Okay, share us. Just give us maybe a few, 3 or 4.
I have done political science, travel and tourism, French as a language. I'm a pilot student, IT, aviation management, and more. Some happen like workshops, but I've done so many courses, and I'm still going back.
Okay, I'd like to say that all of you are catching us. We are here engaging about youth outside politics, and of course the challenges that have made very many youth like you who are watching us right now fail to pick your dream from your bag, fail to pick your dream from your home, fail to pick your dream from your bedroom, fail to pick your dream from your head and to what guys would call a legacy. And we're looking at those challenges. And in the studios, we're so much delighted to have Hallelujah Simon. He was supposed to be the youngest presidential candidate. He picked even the nomination forms. But along the way, I don't know, the zebra or a leopard ate the nomination forms, that he couldn't actually return them on a day of nominations. He opted today to share with us, and he says, Dad asked me that, you know, the tsunami you want to bring home, have you ever attacked the leopard something? Have you watched what happens in this country when you actually declare that you're a politician? And being a good child, he said yes to his father. But the big question still hangs in, will he still remain saying yes to his father as he keeps aging up, planning marriage, planning mobilization, planning futures for his dream? All that left and unsaid. But of course, you can still connect with us on our social media platforms. Record TV Uganda on Facebook, Record TV Uganda on Twitter, and Record TV Uganda on YouTube. You can also follow me on my own handles, that is Olupot Isaac on Facebook, Olupot Isaac Akon on Twitter, and Olupot Isaac on YouTube. Now there, all other social media platforms, Olupot Isaac, Olupot Isaac, Olupot Isaac, Olupot Isaac. Without running away from what is being discussed today, we have had the issue of the approval. Of course, there's an appointments committee in Parliament that handles the approvals of those who actually the president presents before them to take up some of the big offices. For example, for you to be a Chief Justice, the president must appoint you, but you're sent somewhere for approval. The same thing happens with some of the ambassadors. The same thing happens with some of the commissioners. And here today, we have the Bank of Uganda governor, that is Mutebile, and the Uganda Police Force Chief, that is none other than the IGP, Okoth Ochola Martin. The two have been before the Parliamentary Committee on Appointments, seeking to be added another contract in the service of this nation. To you as an individual, do you think they deserve? Let's begin with Ochola Okoth Martin. Actually,
Ochola is still new in the scene. I think he still deserves the time, and he's not so talkative. Like he doesn't appear in the public where not necessary. When he comes in the right time, he tells what he's supposed to deliver, then he comes on. Then for the case of Mutebile, for sure, it's a bit challenging. Why would he come back? Like they would give someone else. They should try a lady actually. Yeah, done this for too long. They should choose a lady who is willing to serve in that position. Yeah, and they should go and do other things. That's why do you want to do something like you do it as if the world is ending.
Okay, when you get back to the basic and look at the period of elections, you watched how everything transpired in this country, and I'm happy that by then you're not in France. You stayed in Uganda and watched. If you had gone even to France, I'm pretty sure that you'd be still following on social media, because now there's a world, it's just a global home. I would like to get back to the basic. How would you rate the performance of the Uganda police force? Now that you're saying Okoth Ochola Martin should actually be added another contract. Yet even his time for being in service expired. He went above 60 years already. Now, to you, when you sit back and look at the baseline, when you look at the elections of 2021, the violation of human rights, do you think police performed above average?
No, the problem here in Uganda, Africa generally, we don't know who is in charge. Sometimes we blame the police is not in charge. They just take the orders. Sometimes we blame the president is not in charge. Someone else is taking the orders. Sometimes we are in the country and you don't know who is leading. You say there is a president, there is a figure, there is a person who comes out to give orders, but you are not sure. But police, I think it acted professionally towards the end of the elections, but then before the election, it was...
You actually first prompting me to ask you a question. So you mean as you're coming to stand for presidency, you're not even understanding who is leading Uganda? Because you say, for us here, we don't understand who is actually... You see someone making orders, but you don't know who is exactly actually on the lead.
I knew the leader, but there was a possibility that he could be not the one leading us. There's always a possibility that in Africa, you can't, especially here in Uganda, you don't know who is who. You may come out and say, I want to fight that person, but the person you are fighting...
Are you among those people who are buying to the notion that Sabiti, who was actually the deputy IGP, Musei Sabiti, was the IGP and Ochola was not the IGP?
As I said before, like he's not talkative. So they may mistake him for being a deputy IGP, it is the big man. So here in Uganda, you don't know who is who. Like you may say, this one is taking us, but there's someone else who is leading. You will be here fighting it, they are fighting you the other side. So you have to be keen.
Okay. Performance of the Uganda police force.
It was...
And other security forces.
You are like in Uganda, security forces, they are always mixed up. There are people who are in there, you don't know whether it is police or it is military or whether it is what they already use. So you be there, they arrest you and they're in layers. So it was 50-50. Sometimes they act professionally, sometimes they do. Because even us, we have to admit that sometimes we would go astray. Because when you want to come out and demonstrate in a peaceful country, most people don't want to engage in demonstrations. So when you fight and police gets involved, some people have to lose their lives. So you can't fight and demonstrate and expect police to keep back and keep looking at it. It will come for you. But
Ugandans are claiming that they were calm. They never wanted any curfew.
No, like this.
But now your colleagues who are supposed to be the same presidential line with you were actually kept in their homes. Some actually were put under house arrest. NUP gentleman, principal, Bob Wen was actually kept in his home after the results, after the election date. When you sit back and look at that, do you think police acted on the right track?
Yeah, no, like as I said, you may know, you cannot be sure of what was. We have the perspective, you are looking things up, but then there is the reality. Like you may not know, like they came out before the election and they're saying that we shall hold Bobi Wine in his house because we heard that after the elections we want to escape to the embassy, then he causes chaos. Like, you know, where did they get the information from? Like, you don't know. There's a possibility that it was true, but then there is also a possibility that it was false. So I would rate the police, it was 50-50.
It was 50-50?
Yeah, it was 50-50.
UPDF?
Like generally, the security agencies. I mean,
Electoral Commission?
Yeah. Electoral Commission, I didn't understand the way they were conducting, especially with the internet. With the internet blackout. They said when he was asked, Mr. Simon, he said, "There's the way we are getting results, but it is very hard to explain to you now. But we are getting them, and we are sure we are getting the actual results." Actually, even me, if I was the one, and I didn't know how they were coming in. There's no internet, but they had created the way that they were. Even he himself, he didn't know the way, but he said it was hard to explain, which means he would call someone. He would call someone and say, "Please help me and explain." If he was asked, or if it's the question now, do you know the real system we use to receive the elections? He's not sure.
Okay. Now that your colleagues actually lost the elections, what advice would you have for them on a basic note? What advice would you have for them? Because we're seeing different schools of thoughts from different political leaders.
Now, sometimes peace matters. People want to live peacefully. Peace matters. So for the sake of the people, for the sake of million Ugandans, like even if you are saying that maybe they should come out and demonstrate peacefully, we are not yet on that level. This is Uganda. We are still in Africa. We haven't transformed. Like if you are not contented with the election, you go to court.
But I've seen other governments in Africa that have actually always fought, and who protest and actually the president leaves. I'll give you a simple example. It was actually Mugabe in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
People rose up and went in the street and demanded, and Mugabe left.
Mugabe was already in, can I call it expired date? Mugabe was already expiring and he was already, but this government is still strong. It is still strong, like there are people who are still holding it in power. You can't just come out and say, let's demonstrate and do what. Maybe they should look for another way. I think even Bob Wine himself, did he come out on the day of demonstrations, they announced? Did he come out to join the...
We're not yet so sure.
Yeah, he didn't come out.
Maybe he had an international call with one of the presidents from outside.
Was he under house arrest?
It's hard to predict.
It's hard to predict. So he didn't come out. Those people, the few people who came out were arrested. And you know who is on them? They themselves. Some of them had families.
Are you trying to threaten Ugandans that if you come and riot, they are going to actually arrest you and you die in your movie?
No, if you can't defeat them, join them.
Since you could not defeat NRM, have you finally hopefully joined them?
No, I'm not joining NRM. I'm not joining I'm not going against them, which means
you're joining them.
Actually, I'm neutral. I'm neutral.
You're neutral?
Yeah, sometimes it is better to keep quiet. Silence is better than speaking. Sometimes just speaking. Sometimes it is better.
Hallelujah. There's a saying in the Bible that you're either for God or you're for the devil. And if you're in the middle,
no,
you will end up being spit.
Yeah, you say a devil you know is better than an angel you don't know. So sometimes when you see a devil and you know, yeah, how are you? Can we go to hell and visit? Yeah, we go. Then you don't know the angel, so the devil will still be better.
So if the devil you know, if President Museveni, for example, would be the devil you know, you'd rather dine with him than actually dining with the people power principle that you don't know.
Yes, why not?
Now you're differing from your mentor. Your mentor says the regime must go, and he has always said there's nothing that will bring us with Museveni together. And for you, who is a follower of the mentor, he's actually saying sometimes you can dine with the devil. Are you among the politicians in this country in the future whom the country will bestow with the power to lead, and you end up being suppressed with actually new rules like homosexuality?
No, actually, no, I can't do that. Like me, I have my own principles. And sometimes when you are coming out like at this time, you don't expose everything. Sometimes you keep it,
so you're keeping
you preserve it for the right time.
Okay. What's your last message to Ugandans who are watching right now?
Oh, I want to say thank you for watching us, everyone who was on live, the people. Actually, there are people who knew that I was coming on TV and they are waiting. Yeah, I have a friend called Chomzon Rose. Yeah, she's watching.
The one you like?
Then there is another one called Twaha. Twaha Nintinda, my family. I greet them all. Thank you for watching and keep watching.
Thank you so much. I would like to say that to all of you who have caught up with us today. We're so much delighted to be hosting Hallelujah Simon, who happens to be a man who had a dream to be the youngest presidential candidate in the last recently concluded race of Uganda. And I would like to say that he has actually shared with you a bit of what he thinks in relationship to different political fields. And of course, he also told you that he has no problem with actually having Okoth Ochola Martin renew his seat as the IGP for the Uganda Police Force. I would like to say that brings us the end of our today's UG Pulse. My name is Isaac Olupot Akonya. Enjoy a blessed afternoon.